This is Knockbreda Cemetery, a couple of miles outside of Belfast city centre. Behind me here, Leslie Forestside Shopping Centre. This is a bit of a personal visit here. Thanks to the excellent research of Nigel Henderson. Just coming out of lockdown, he found out that each of my 8 great-grandparents are buried in Knockbreda Cemetery, which was a surprise to me. This is the only grave that I knew in here. This is my great-granny May's. And as you can see from the headstone here, she is commemorated here as having passed away on the 24th of June 1983 when I was at Inst at post-primary school. So she lived for many years in Hatton Drive, number 30 Hatton Drive, off the Woodstock Road, and she was a very good judge of character. She much preferred my brother than to me. So she was the only of my 8 great-grandparents who I can remember, and they say I was about 11 or 12 when she passed away. And also, sadly, she was predeceased by a number of her children, including here John, remembered as Wee Jackie, and he passed on the 24th of October 1940, aged only 5 years, 5.5 years. And also her darling daughter Betty, and she passed away, again as it says in the headstone, in her 15th year. And then Joe, in other words my great-granda, he worked in the shipyard, Harlan Wolff. He passed in 1967, in other words a couple of years before I was born. And then I think she was aged 91 then, my granny May's, who's buried here then in Knockbreda. So we'll go now then to find my other, the 3 other graves, which contain the remains of my 3 other sets of great-grandparents here in Knockbreda Cemetery. So this headstone here, not far from my Granny May's grave, May's grave, is the McCabe headstone. So commemorated here then, it says, in memory of Henry Gamble McCabe, who passed away 30th of November 1935, and his wife Edith, and she passed away on the 11th of October in 1976. I believe that this side of the family, they hailed from Lurgan, County Armagh. There are other Henry Gamble McCabes buried in the Shankill graveyard in Lurgan, but this is the Henry Gamble McCabe and his wife Edith's final resting place. They lived at 389 Woodstock Road, and I believe their profession was as they were pawnbrokers. We'll go now then to visit another of the double plot commemorating 2 more of my great-grandparents. So my Granny McCabe, her maiden name was Story, and this is the final resting place then here in Knockbreda of my Granny McCabe's 2 parents and a sister. So commemorated here then, it says at the top, "Thy will be done," and an ever-loving memory of Sarah, dearly beloved wife of Robert Story, known as Bobby Story, and he passed away in 1941, 14th of May, which is ironically my daughter's birthday. The above named Robert Story, known as Bobby, born 16th October in the 1870s, and then called home, as it says in his headstone, 7th March 1945. My understanding is that the Bobby Story, in other words my great-granda, my granny's father was in the RIC, the Royal Irish Constabulary, and served for some time in Cavan, County Cavan, and then went to Dublin before coming up here to Belfast, where the family lived on the Stranmillis Road, not far from the Stranmillis College. And you can see as well here then a sister of my Granny McCabe's, Kathleen. She died on the 26th of January 1974, aged 69 years. This headstone, it was previously very, very dark and very black almost. And I did a bit of tidying of it, but I have to sincerely thank Victor, who works here at Knockbreda Cemetery, for cleaning this one up for me. It was, I say, unrecognisable to what it is now. Thanks to Victor's efforts, it's a lot more readable and it's a lot more white. Back in the day, prior to Victor working on it, it was more like the headstone next to it. You wouldn't have known that this headstone was white even. So again, the final resting place here at Knockbreda Cemetery of my Granny McCabe's parents, the Sarah and Robert, known as Bobby Story. So going now then to find the final resting place of the fourth set of my great-grandparents. This is my Granda Vinty, James Vincent Craig. This is his parents here. This little flower pot is all that commemorates them at their final resting place here in Knockbreda. So they lived in Ballarat Street, which is at the more or less at the intersection of Milady's Road and Ravenhill Road here in Belfast. And they hailed, certainly, I think my great-grandfather Craig, he hailed from Downpatrick. So again, I have to thank Victor, who works in the cemetery here in Knockbreda. The grave here was sunk, and then Victor kindly, at my request, then put some soil here to flatten it out, and kindly planted grass seed to make it look more like the other graves in this area. So again, the final resting place of my Granda Craig's parents. I don't know, I can't remember their names. I never met them. And again, then to thank Nigel Henderson for alerting me to the fact that each of my 8 great-grandparents, the 4 couples, are buried here in Knockbreda Cemetery. Prior to lockdown, I was unaware of that. Having met my Granny Mays, though I'm familiar with that grave, I attended her funeral. But as for the others buried here in Knockbreda, it's thanks to Nigel's research and generosity that I became aware of that. So here we are in Knockbreda Cemetery, and we've just called at the final resting places of 8 of my great-grandparents. And again, the Craigs hailed from Downpatrick. The Stories hailed from County Cavan in the Republic of Ireland. The McCabes of Henry Gamble McCabe, etc., hailed from Lurgan in County Armagh. And then the Mazes, they hailed from Knocknamuckley, and also in County Armagh. So it's weird that they all kind of ended up in this cemetery here. They all did live in Belfast latterly, but there are other options of places to be buried. But all 8 of my great-grandparents ended up buried within a relatively short distance of each other here in Knockbreda Cemetery, a couple of miles outside Belfast.